Hi, everybody, and welcome to Ruth Reacts to Books. I'm your host, Ruxie, Ruth McGouth, and I am today going to be reviewing Devil Bones by Kathy Reichs. So this is the series that you may have seen the show Bones on TV, which is about a forensic anthropologist who works at the Smithsonian. And this is the series that was loosely based on, but this is a very different series. And the people in this, the only real similarity is like the person in this book, her name is Temperance Brennan, and she is a forensic anthropologist. And that's pretty much the similarity. So she does not work at the Smithsonian, and none of the other characters are the same. She does have a romance with a police officer, but it's not the same one from the books. The name's not the same or anything. And in fact, he's not even from America. He's from Canada. So it's a little different. It's very different. And then in the back of this book, there was actually a interview with Kathy Reichs, and they talked about the show, and she talked about how in the show she kind of thinks of it as this character like in her past, like way before, and obviously it's not exactly, because in the book she has a child and she's divorced, but it's not the same person, like it's not from the same person that she ends up having a child with in the show. So anyway, it's interesting, but the book is very different, and so you're not gonna, if you want to read the books, you certainly can, and you won't have, it's not like you'll spoil anything by having watched the show, because they're completely different and totally different stories. So this is, I think, the 10th book in the series. The first book is Deja Dead. So if you want to check out the series and start with the first one, Deja Dead would be where to start. This is the 10th one, Devil Bones. I gave this book 4.5 stars out of 5, so I really liked it. Throughout the time that I've been reading her books, I'm kind of all over the place with my ratings. Like, I mean, from 3, 4, and 5. So either I give them a 3 or 4 or a 5. So I'm not sure like how to really tell whether I'm going to love them or I'm just going to like them. But this one, I really liked it a lot. I felt like I liked it the most, but then when I went back to look at my other ratings, I noticed that some of them I've given a full 5 to. So even though I felt like I really liked this book, and I thought maybe it was going to be my top one, I noticed like, no, I've liked other ones more. So we'll get into this. I'll read the back of the book to you, and then I will tell you what I liked about the book, what I didn't like, and I'll tell you the food that I've associated with this book that I have in the description. I have a link to a blog where you can make the food yourself, and then I will tell you about my nails that I have associated with the book. You can see it's dark and it's mystical, and it goes with the front cover. All right. So the back of the book says, in a house under renovation, a plumber uncovers a secret cellar and discovers a decapitated chicken, animal bones, and cauldrons containing relics of religious ceremonies. In the center of the shrine, there is the skull of a teenage girl. Meanwhile, on a nearby lakeshore, the headless body of a teenage boy is found by a man walking his dog. Led by a preacher turned politician, citizen vigilantes blame devil worshippers and Wiccans. Forensic anthropologist Temperance Brennan, 5'5", feisty, and 40 plus, is called in to investigate, and a complex and gripping tale unfolds. So, obviously I really liked the book. What I liked about it, I felt like the book really, in this one, it was different than other books. So in a lot of the other books, she's traveling somewhere. Either she's traveling to Canada and working with her Quebec folks that she works with, or she's traveling internationally somewhere where she has to go and help them. But here she stayed in South Carolina, I think, where she lives. And this was fully a murder that she was helping with on her home turf, which is the first time, I think, in the whole series that's happened. So that was new, and so like that was interesting. There was some character building for Tempe herself. So she's an alcoholic in the book series, and she has a relapse in this book. And so I felt like that was interesting as someone myself who has, some interest in recovery community. That was an interesting piece. Like, I feel like there were some questions I had about how that went down for her. But I won't say much more. There was a lot of foreshadowing in this book that made me want to keep reading, where it was very compelling and made me want to keep knowing what was happening next. And I did not figure out who the murderer was at all by the end of the book. I was very surprised. So I always like that, as you know, if you watch my show, you know that I like to be surprised and not figure it out. And really the only thing I didn't like about the book was the foreshadowing that I talked about almost built stuff up too much. And then when the things actually happened, I was like, that didn't quite make sense. But on the other hand, it almost does make sense. So there wasn't a lot that I didn't like about the book. I thought it was really good. She tells a good story, and it was really interesting for it to be all in South Carolina instead of having her travel to Quebec, where she normally is traveling. We still got most of the characters that we normally see. So the food that I have attached with this is called Devil's Bread. It is spicy with sriracha. So I have a link to that in the description of the YouTube show. And then my nails, you can see they are sort of dark and they have like little flecks of red. And so it talked about it on the back of the book. There's just a lot of mystical pieces that connect with this murder mystery. And this is called Mysteries of the Deep, this nail. It came with one of my subscription boxes, and so I thought it was kind of dark and mysterious, and I felt that way about the book. And even the cover kind of art that's on the cover also does a good job of showing the dark and mysteriousness about this book. So highly recommend this series. Again, if you haven't read it before, the first book is called Deja Dead. This is book 10, Devil Bones. I hope everyone is having a good week, and I will peace out. See you next week.